Hey everyone, this is Dave at StarCraft II Strategy Guide Reviews, and in this video I'm going to take an inside look at the Shokz guide for StarCraft II. So I'm coming at this from the perspective of somebody who I've played StarCraft actually long ago when it first came out. Was into multiplayer on Battle.net for a long time. Haven't played in a few years, but I'm definitely really looking forward to StarCraft 2. My skill level, I'm pretty much, I would say I'm an intermediate player. You know, I can beat the computer easy enough, but when I'm up against some pretty good players who are human, I kind of have trouble with them. So what I wanted to do with this site is to go into some of these guides that have a lot of the tips and the strategies and that sort of thing. And the reason I picked Shokz guide first is because he's actually the best selling guide out there right now. So let me just go, first of all, I'm going to go over some of the features that he's got, and then I'll actually go into the members area so you can see what's in there. Just a little background on Shokz. He's a real player. He's been in the beta. He got to the diamond level. Basically the way he does it is by he just practices, and he watches what other people do. When he loses, he reevaluates that. So he's definitely an expert in the field, and he writes all his content as well. So when you see some of the articles, you know it's from him. Anyway, let's go into, there's some of the standards that you would expect from a guide. There's the Terran guide, Protoss guide, Zerg guide. They're all, all the things that you would expect. He's also got a campaign guide. Now, the only thing about that campaign guide is that, at the time of this recording, StarCraft 2 isn't quite out yet. So, there's not a lot of content that he could actually put out for the campaign. But one of the things that he does is it's a lifetime membership. So once you purchase this, any content that he updates down the road, you don't have to pay for. You're always able to get back into the site and see any updates that he's got. And that's something that I think that is really good about purchasing this, is that it's going to have value over the lifetime of StarCraft 2, not just when not just at launch, not just when one expansion comes out. It's always going to be there, and it's always going to be useful for you. So some of the other features he has, in addition to the racial guides and the campaign guide, that I liked a lot, is that he's got a map editor guide. One of the things that I had a lot of fun with in the original StarCraft was making my own maps and designing missions and that kind of thing. But I know that can kind of be a headache to learn on your own, and I haven't really seen a lot of good guides about map editing, and so I really like the fact that he's got that. He's got some nice articles about how to make your units and things like that. And then the other thing that he's got is member videos. The members are going to be able to put up videos of their own, and you can actually watch the videos, get some analysis on the videos. So he's really focused on creating a community of players who want to be competitive and want to get better. So let me go ahead and go actually inside the guide, and here's what you get when you purchase it. The first thing that he's got is a PDF, and let me just open that PDF real quick and expand it so you can see it. So this is it's a guide that's really, I think, designed for people who are a little bit new to the game, maybe don't really remember StarCraft 1 or have never played it and want to start getting into it. So it's a very good kind of tutorial for a lot of the basic concepts of StarCraft and how to handle them. So you got things like picking your race. The other thing that Shokz does a great job with, in my opinion, is his treatment of all the hotkeys. I think one thing I learned back from StarCraft 1 is that if you want to ever win a game against another good player, you've got to learn hotkeys. And so he does a good job, basically, even talking to some of the beginners and telling them, look, get the hotkeys down. And just do it right from the start. Get away from the habit of using a mouse. And so I really like that. He's, just as an aside, I think that's one of the things that's really setting him apart is that he does a very good job being very accessible to kind of the newer players or the intermediate players who want to get really good. I think with some of the other guides that I'm looking at right now, that they're sort of geared for the more really advanced players who kind of already know all the basics, already know all the standard strategies, and just want to really get into it and shoot for diamond. Shokz has those kind of strategies, but what it seems like his focus really is on getting those players who are kind of on the fence and making them better. And so, like I said, coming from my perspective and my play level, this is a perfect guide for me. The other thing that he's got in this PDF is he's got a lot of the differences between StarCraft 1 and 2 that I hadn't been aware of. Things like the Xel'Naga watchtowers, how to use them properly, what the role of high ground versus low ground is going to take in the game. But then again, right here you can see he's got some of the, going back to some of the basics like setting rally points and that sort of thing. So let me go ahead and show you some of the other content that he's got. Down the right side, you're going to see a list of most of his main articles, and he breaks it down by race, but he's also got some general guides. So when he's breaking it down by race, he gets into very specific strategies like the Reaper Rush. The other thing that he does a really good job with, I really liked this Void Ray Rush guide. I hadn't really been familiar with the Void Ray unit so much. So I had been looking around on YouTube for a lot of videos that kind of explain it, and actually I think that he actually had the best explanation out of all the ones that I had seen. So you can see it's kind of broken down into two parts. So it's totally clear about how to do that. And again, it's very accessible to kind of the intermediate or beginner players. The other thing that he's gotten here in the general guides that I was really happy to see is he's got a guide for terms and lingo. I had been playing Warcraft for many years, and so I'm totally familiar with that. And then I kind of forgot a lot of the StarCraft lingo, and so he's got some definitions for all these, which is really good, because once you get into Battle.net and people start spamming you with these terms, it can be a little bit confusing for some of the newer players. The other thing, I think I mentioned this before, was the hotkey guide. I really liked the treatment that he did of that. The hotkey guide, he gets really down into the basics of it, so you understand the concepts. But then he actually takes it a step further as well. He's actually got some videos, of some live gameplay and how to set that up. And I think these are actually contributed by some of his members. So that just goes back to his willingness to develop the community here. So basically, in summary, with Shokz guide, I think that this is the best bet for people who are pretty good or just getting into StarCraft 2, and they want to learn how to beat other humans, like other human players on Battle.net. Out of all the guides I've seen so far, this is the most accessible for kind of that level of play. The other thing that I really like about it is it's a lifetime membership, and he keeps adding content, and he's fostering a community. Now the other guides that I'm going to be reviewing, they seem like they're very good too. They're not bad. The only thing I would say is that they're sort of more geared to some of the more advanced players who really are shooting for diamond level. So if you're not really familiar with kind of some of this intermediate level concepts, Shokz is actually your best bet. And again, the one-time fee definitely makes it worthwhile. So thanks for listening, and you can see some more of my reviews on StarCraft II Strategy Guide Reviews.com. Thanks.